gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the My Two Cents podcast, presented by and hosted by G2. I am G2. This is the Sunday edition of the podcast where I am here to talk to you guys about everything that happened in the world and break down some of the big news topics and give my opinions on said topics. Now, before I do all of that, I usually start off by asking every single one of you, how are you guys doing? And I usually say, I hope everyone had a great week. If not a great week, a good week. I hope no one had a miserable week. If you did, I apologize for that. Just look on the bright side. You have another week to have a better week than you did last week if your last week sucked. But if your week was good to great, you have another week to continue on with that momentum. And I'm hoping that you guys continue on with that. I want to get this message across, and I've always said this when I get on this Sunday edition of the podcast. I want people not to stress out so much because stress is a silent killer. And I feel that people don't really pay attention to that. If you're in a bad mental condition, if you're bad physical condition, and if you're stressing out, guess what? It just adds more to your mental and physical. It makes you more sicker. It wears you down more. And I don't want people to be in that bad shape, whether it be mentally or physically. I want people to not stress out over things that is not controllable. I only want people to control things that are controllable. And don't try to overwork yourself, overexhaust yourself, because again, that will lead to more stress on you. So with this week that's coming up, or since we're entering a new week now, technically, because today's Sunday, I want you to please take care of things that you know you could take care of this week. Don't try to overexert yourself. Don't try to overexhaust yourself, because when you do that, you're just adding more stress to yourself and you're weighing yourself down. And I don't want people to do that, okay? So with that, please take care of yourself. Please do the best that you can, and please do not stress out over things that you cannot control, all right? Now, having said that, now it's time for me to move on to your National Food Days of the Week. Today being June 15th, which is Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. It is Lobster Day. June 16th will be Fudge Day. June 17th will be Cherry Tart Day and Apple Strudel Day. So basically a dessert eating type day for that. Nothing for June 18th. June 19th, however, is Martini Day. So if you're going to have a martini on June 19th, please drink responsibly. June 20th will be Ice Cream Soda Day, as well as Vanilla Milkshake Day. And then to round us out, June 21st will be Wagyu Day, as well as Peaches and Cream Day. So that's your National Food Days of the week. And now with that, now it's time for me to move over into the condolences. And I want to start off with the Air India airliner, which reports have come out saying that it was carrying 230 passengers and 12 crew members. They were en route to United Kingdom and crashed into a building shortly after takeoff on Thursday, leaving 246 people dead, officials would say. The victims included 241 passengers and crew members, as well as 5 medical students who were inside the medical college and hospital the aircraft crashed into, according to the hospital officials. Many others inside the building were injured, some seriously, and are receiving treatment, hospital officials said. Now, coming out of this crash, you had one person who was actually on that plane that actually survived. And it's amazing to me how one person out of 241 people lived. And that's saying something. So whoever is watching over this one person, I hope that this one person gives all the grace, all the praise to their higher power in that. But it has to suck being that one person living. And yes, it's good that you're living, but now you have to look at and you're going to have it play in your mind saying, why was I spared? Why me out of all the other individuals on that plane? Why was I spared? So that's probably going to play with that survivor. And I'm hoping that survivor gets some type of counsel, some type of therapy for that. Because again, that's going to play into them. Whether they want to admit it or not, it's going to, because it will play into anyone's mind. You would have that existential crisis and talk to yourself about, why me? Why me out of all the people? What about me is so special that I am the person that was able to walk away from this? But again, I'm happy that one person did walk away. Not everyone did pass, but I do feel sorry for all the families and friends and associates of people that actually had people die on that airline plane, and also people that passed away in the medical college and hospital that aircraft crashed into. And I just don't know what to say more about that. I really don't. Again just want to give love and condolences to everyone on that. My mom sent me like an Instagram post, and it was about one of the victims in that crash, talking about a father who had to move away from India to go to England, start up his business, start up a new foundation so his wife and kids can move over there with him once he got everything situated. It took him a couple years to do so, but once he got that, he told his wife, and the wife quit her job, and she had herself, the husband, and the kids all on this flight to go to England so they could start their new life there, and every one of them passed away. That's just one of the stories that's on that flight that, again, I want people to understand. A lot of people lost their lives on there, so please give your love and give your condolences and give your prayers to everyone out there, but don't be a prick to people, because you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what's going to happen to them, and it might be the last time you hear from them or see them. So please take into consideration when you are upset with them or you guys might be aggravated with them. Don't waste time or don't waste any type of energy on something that's so minuscule, because again, you can just see them one moment and the next moment, you get a phone call saying that they have gone, and your lasting memory will be of you being upset with them or you just having that loving moment with them, and that's all you got. So again, ladies and gentlemen, don't take your time on this earth for granted. That's all I got to say for that. But again, I want to give my love and condolences to all the families and all the individuals that lost their lives on this tragic aircraft crash. That's, again, tragic. And to all the people that were inside the hospital and this medical college, when this plane crashed into it. So again, love and condolences go out to them. Moving over into the state side over here, I want to give you a news report that CBS would write about, saying at least 13 people have died, several missing in San Antonio after rapid flooding. The article will read, at least 13 people have been found dead and several more remain missing after heavy rains this week caused floodings on highways throughout San Antonio, Texas, authorities said Saturday. The Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office and San Antonio Fire Department confirmed to CBS News on Saturday that the death toll had risen to 13. Officials said on Saturday that 10 out of the 13 confirmed dead have been identified, 8 of them men and 2 women, and that their next of kin have been notified. Their ages range from 28 to 67. Earlier Friday, the fire department said its crews were focusing their search on Salado Creek and Leon Creek, and that it had requested assistance from Texas A&M Task Force 1, a federal search and rescue team that operates under FEMA. Heavy rains overnight Wednesday led to water rescue calls just after 5 a.m. local time on Thursday in northeastern San Antonio near the city's Perion Beaton neighborhood. The identities of the victims have yet to be released, but one of the victims was identified as a 77-year-old woman, according to CBS affiliate Kins TV. So people have been losing their lives because of mad flooding going down in San Antonio. So again, I give my love and condolences out to the people that lost family members, loved ones down there. And I don't know what's going on with all the flooding and rain that's been going down, at least in the South, because I know for the last, almost this whole entire week, at least where I live, there's been raining and thunderstorming, and I'm glad there hasn't been any flooding over where I live. But man, we're in the summertime. Summertime's supposed to be hot, it's supposed to be sunny, it's supposed to be humid, which we get that, but then it starts turning an ugly curve and it starts raining, thunderstorming, and it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that this is happening. Usually, I'll say thunderstorms happen around with the heat. It was around about September, around this time of period, September, not around summer. I don't remember it when I was growing up, thunderstorming happening in the summertime. I only remember it being hot and humid. So this occurring right now is really weird, but hey, the world evolves, everything changes as the years go by, but I don't want to take that away from people losing their lives. Please, ladies and gentlemen, look after your loved ones, call them up, make sure they're okay. If you are in a different state than them, look up their state weather and call them up to make sure they're all right, make sure they're okay, and just keep a close eye on your people. That's all I gotta say about this one. But again, condolences to people that lost loved ones, friends, and associates in the San Antonio, Texas area, and hopefully, I'm hoping that it all gets better for them. I want to move over to something that's, I feel, near and dear to, I want to say, almost everyone's hearts, and I'm going to talk about Ananda Lewis. She was a MTV video jockey. She was part of MTV's golden era. I want to say that's probably about like the 90s. She died this week after a lengthy battle with breast cancer. She was 52. New York Post will write about it. In the article, they would say in the years leading up to her death, the beloved TV personality stirred controversy by opting for alternative treatments instead of a doctor-recommended double mastectomy, a decision she stood by until the end, though not without some regrets. She would write up a candid essay for Essence published in January, and in the essay, she would say, "Do everything in your power to avoid my story becoming yours." And it's about reflecting on the choices she made both during her illness and long before cancer entered her life. Lewis discovered a lump in her right breast while showering in December 2018. It was slightly larger than a pea and located where she often experienced mastitis while breastfeeding her son. The former MTV video jockey and TV host hoped it was nothing but a biopsy. The following month revealed stage 3 breast cancer that had already spread to her lymph nodes. "For a long time, I had refused mammograms, and that was a mistake," Lewis shared on her Instagram when she went public with her diagnosis in October 2020. "If I had done the mammograms, from the time they were recommended when I turned 40, they would have caught the tumor in my breast years before I caught it through my own self-examination," she continued. Despite the advanced stage, Lewis chose to face the diagnosis her way. "My approach in life is to deal with things head on as they happen," she wrote in Essence. "So instead of panicking, I made a game plan." After seeing her mother and cousin go through traditional cancer treatment, she turned down the doctor's advice to undergo surgery to remove both her breasts, along with possible chemotherapy and radiation. She would tell CNN in October 2024 in an interview, "My plan at first was to get out excessive toxins in my body. I decided to keep my tumor and to try to work it out of my body in a different way." She later admitted that she had doubts about her decision. "Looking back on that, I go, you know what? Maybe I should have," she said. Instead, she drove into research and overhauling her lifestyle, focusing on diets, detoxes, and natural healing. "My goal was to do things that supported my body's ability to continue to be whole enough instead of destroying it up front," Lewis wrote in Essence. She received monthly ultrasounds from a breast surgeon to track the tumor and committed to a mix of alternative therapies, including high-dose vitamin C IVs, hyperbaric chamber sessions, qigong, energy work, and prayer. Progress was steady until the COVID-19 pandemic hit, California shut down, and Lewis could no longer access her treatments or scans. By the summer of 2020, I felt the tumor growing again, she wrote. With limited options in California, she traveled to Arizona, where medical clinics remained open. There, she underwent 16 weeks of integrative treatment, including acupuncture, cryoablation, and low-dose chemo. The results were promising. Her cancer dropped from stage 3 to stage 2. It cleared from her lymph nodes, and her tumor shrank. But the costs were steep. Without life insurance, Lewis couldn't keep up the treatments back home and had to pause care for more than 2 years while supporting herself and her son. By October 2023, her cancer had progressed to stage 4. She re-entered treatment at an integrative clinic in Southern California after 12 weeks. By January 2024, her condition had improved significantly, but the tolls of years without constant care weighed on her. She would write, "Am I in the clear? No. But I could have ended up here no matter what route I took because I didn't come in with the resources that I needed to stay the course the whole time. Doctors generally advise against skipping surgery for breast cancer, especially in earlier stages. In stage 1 to stage 3 breast cancer, which is curable, there's no scenario that we can skip surgery altogether." Dr. Stephens Downs Canner, a breast surgeon at Memorial Sloan Kettering, told Health. Research constantly shows that women who refuse surgery have lower 5-year survival rates and are more likely to die from the disease. Okay, I'm not going to read you this whole entire thing, but you kind of get my point. She was on her way, doing it her way. She did holistic therapy. She didn't really go through the whole chemo radiation situation. She took it in small doses, but she went about it her way. And I want to say this for everyone that's dealing with someone that has cancer, whether you are a spouse, whether you are the child, whether you are just a friend that's looking out for someone that has cancer. I want you to know that, one, you are seen and you are heard by people that's watching you do this, because I know it's a thankless job a lot of the time. Sometimes the person that's watching over you, sometimes the person that you're watching over and helping them out with their cancer treatment and all the stuff that they decide to do, you might not always get a thank you out of them, but know you are seen and know you are thanked by that person, even though they don't say it. But trust me, they thank you for looking after them. Let me make that perfectly clear. 1. 2, I want to say this for the person that's going through cancer or has cancer, whether it be stage 1, 2, 3, 4. The person that has cancer, it's a lot on their mind. Certain people are able to hide it well. Certain people don't hide it well. But a person that has cancer on their mind, they are panicking a lot in their head because they have no idea what is happening. They don't know whether they should go the holistic route. They don't know whether they should go the chemotherapy, radiation route. And it all depends on what type of cancer someone has, whether it be brain cancer, lung cancer, throat cancer, prostate cancer, breast cancer. Cancer is cancer. Cancer is something that you can beat, or something that you at least could try to slow down, because again, it's one of those things that once you hear that you got cancer, it immediately puts your body and your mental state in a different mindset. And sometimes people, whenever they hear it, they start going on the downward spiral. Certain people are able to say, you know what, okay, I got this, let's try to figure things out. But it all depends on the person's mental state. And I want everyone to understand this, whether you got someone in your household that has cancer, or you have a friend or associate that has cancer, just be there for them. That's the best I can say that for you. Do research, look up stuff to try to help them out in this battle with cancer, because all the help that you can give them is necessary, and be there for them. Be a wall for them just to express how they're feeling. Be someone that they could talk to whenever they want an opinion about something, and freely give your opinion as well to these people. But just be there for them, because again, a lot of this is happening to them. A lot of stuff is running through their mind. Certain people, again, as I said, they hide it better than others. Certain people actually don't think about it. They just go about their life, and you question how they just go about their life and they got cancer. But certain people are actually able to just do it. But I want to say this more importantly. When it comes down to people doing it holistically or chemotherapy, radiation, I think it's up to the person to decide that. You can give them all the knowledge about what you think they should do and all that, but it's all up to the person that has cancer that's doing it. And whatever they want to go with, the only thing you can do is say, okay, and just be with them. And once again, you can throw in your 2 cents that can probably help them go one way instead of the other. But once someone got their mindset on it, only thing you can do is just be there for them. That's it. And again, I want to say, for this case right here, Ananda Lewis, I do feel sorry for her son that no longer has his mother. I feel sorry for him. I really do. Because I am at the age of 29 and I still have both of my parents. And I'm pretty sure this boy's young. And for him not to have his mom is going to be a toll on him. Because your mom is your mom. Your mom's the person that you go to. Your mom's your sore spot, your weak spot, if you will, especially if you're a dude. You want the love and attention from your mom, and you want to be able to give her the love and attention as well. You want to call her up and just talk to her whenever you get the opportunity to. And not having your mom and not having your dad in your life, whether they're gone physically or gone mentally, they're checked out, it sucks. And for this young kid not to have his mom because cancer took away that from him, it just it sucks. And he had to watch his mom. He had to watch his mom get better and not get better, and I wouldn't wish that on no one. And if you know me in my personal life, you know I'm a vengeful type guy. I can say, I'm usually the guy whenever someone says, I don't wish that on no one. I'm usually the guy that always like hit the little side like, I wouldn't say I wouldn't wish that on no one. But to see someone that you love go through cancer and go through that battle, and you watch them either get better and then they get worse, or they get worse and they get better and they end up getting back to being worse, and then they ultimately in the end pass away, I wouldn't wish that on no one. Not a person that I hate, not a person that I loathe, not a person that I have just a small disagreement with. I wouldn't wish that on no one, because that is a taxing, emotional thing to go through, and you're just a bystander. You're not the person of like being hit with the cancer. You're just a bystander, because there's nothing that you can do about it. There's nothing that you can do to take that cancer away from someone. There's nothing that you can do. So again, recipes to Miss Ananda Lewis here. Ananda Lewis, excuse me. And again, love and condolence to her family, her son, and to all the people that knew her and were associates of her. So again, if you have someone that has cancer, once again, just be a lending ear to them. Be a lending ear to the caregiver. Be a lending ear to people that's around them, because again, it is a toll emotionally on them, because again, they can't do nothing but just sit there and watch, and it's an emotional and physical toll on the person that has cancer. So the only thing I can do and say to everyone is just please look after someone that has cancer that you know of about, all right? Now, getting off of the condolences here, I'm just going to get this quick mention, and it's the whole Israel-Iran deal. There's missile strikes going from both Israel and Iran, and I want to say this right now. I want this thing to end. I don't know why this thing is really happening. People could say you could read about it. Listen, the world is the world right now. It's literally do or die for everyone. And my brain isn't going to be able to try to even keep up with what's happening. I will say this right now. I don't like that off top. I know this. Israel launched the attack first on Iran's military and nuclear facilities. That has been stated first and foremost. So I don't like that Israel did that. And then to see when I was on Twitter how Iran was shooting missiles back and they shoot it at Tel Aviv. And you see the videos of that happening. You see the video of the missiles that Israel was shooting off to try to stop Iran's missiles from hitting places. It's a nasty sight that we're seeing right now. And again, I said it on previous episodes of this podcast, Sunday episodes more specifically. The world is getting way more crazier as the years are going by. And again, I don't want people in other countries to end up dying over something so stupid that I feel that people's nation leaders are too big of babies not to really sit down and just have a legit civilized conversation to end this type of stuff. Because it's not really affecting our leaders like that. It's not. It's affecting the people that they're supposed to be governing, the people that's they're supposed to be looking after. It only affects them. It never affects the people in high power. They always got their people hide away, tucked away, never ever to be like attacked like that. So again, I don't like that this is happening right now. I'm hoping that Israel and Iran can come to some type of resolution before it really gets ugly and nasty and dirty. But from, again, the videos that I've seen and people talking about it, it might get worse. So again, just keep your eyes out on stuff that's happening over there in the Middle East. And again, I give my love over to everyone, whether you're in Israel, whether you're in Iran. I give my love to everyone out there that's just an innocent bystander over leaders not wanting to sit down and just have conversations like adults. Because again, the citizens over there, they're the ones that's really going to be hurting, not your leaders. And that sucks more than anything. I wish sometimes when war happens, the top leaders, who's supposed to be like your generals and all that, they can have some of their family members on the front lines. And I mean like people that they hold close to them. And that will really set the tone and say, okay, are you really about this life? Because if you're willing to have some of your people that you hold near and dear to you be on the front lines and go out there and fight this battle that you and the other person can't get together in a regular room, then go about it. Just know that you're going to lose someone close to you just off top instead of the usual someone at the top never has a family member that close in proximity, in danger. It's just usually the underlings going out there to do war. But again, I'm going to leave that over to people that know about that more. Again, I spread my love to people over there in Israel and Iran. And I just hope that it gets better before it gets worse. That's what I'm hoping for here. But time will tell with that. And speaking of, I want to move back over here to the States. We did have on Saturday two Democratic state lawmakers in Minnesota. They happened to got gunned down, and the New York Times would write about it. They would say Minnesota suspect served on state board with one of the victims. The man suspected of shooting two Democratic state lawmakers in Minnesota early on Saturday has served on state board with one of the victims, records show. The suspect identified by authorities, Vance Bolter, who's 57. The article will say the police have said that the suspect in the attacks disguised himself as a police officer and went to the homes of two state lawmakers in Minneapolis suburbs. He shot and wounded Senator Hoffman and his wife Yvette, and fatally shot State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark. He remains on the run. U.S. Senator Tina Smith, Democrat of Minnesota, said in an interview that the gunman had a list that included her name and a list of other lawmakers, all of whom were Democrats. The list included about 70 potential targets, a federal law enforcement officer said, including doctors, community and business leaders, and locations for Planned Parenthood and other healthcare centers. Some of the targets were in neighboring states. So at the time right now, this suspect is still out there on the loose at the time of this recording. There's been I want to say Tim Walz, he has come out and he's said this is a political attack. This is not a political attack. This was a political assassination. And again, I don't really get into the political game like that because I don't know the whole back behind the scenes type deal. But seeing your representatives shot or hearing about them being shot, that has to suck. Because again, just like in the last article that I talked about with the whole Iran-Israel business, usually the people at the top that's supposed to be governing and making the laws and all that type of stuff, they usually don't get touched. But we're in a different world right now, and over here on the States, you can get touched if you're a politician. Whether you are a senator, whether you are a representative, or the state representative, you can get touched if someone wants to really get to you. So I hope that the people at the top, whether you're a state senator, whether you're a representative, I hope everyone understands whether you're a Republican or Democrat, times are changing, bro. You guys can get touched. I just want everyone to know that. Again, the suspect right now, he is still out there right now at the time of this recording. I don't know the logistics of this whole thing. Hopefully, by Monday, they'll give more information about it, and more than likely on my Wednesday podcast, Midweek Breakdown, I probably will mention something about this if more information does come about. But yeah, right now, the man is still out there. He's still walking around, and I just want to let politicians over here in the States know times are changing, and you guys can get touched. All right, just want to throw it out there. Now, just Saturday, we had, I want to say a nationwide kind of protest, and the protest was No King's Day. My general understanding of No King's Day was that Donald Trump was supposed to have some type of grand military parade and celebration, and it all landed on Trump's birthday, and this is supposed to mark the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary. In this parade, it's supposed to be armored tanks, supposed to feature military demonstrations, equipment displays, all this type of stuff. Again, by the time this episode's out, you can go to your Twitters and Instagrams and see all the videos of the parades. I'd never watched it. I'd never saw the parade because personally, I don't care about all this type of stuff. But I do want to make this perfectly known because this is a PSA that I got to do every time that I talk about politics, more specifically since we're in this regime of Trump and this administration. Any political opinions that I have, more specifically any type of opinions that I have in general on this podcast, comes from the mind of G2, Gerald Garrett. No more, none less. All right, this is not an agenda-driven podcast by a Republican Party, Democratic Party, none of that. This is all thoughts and opinion of one man, G2, that's all. I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not none of that. I just want to make that perfectly clear when I do state my opinions, because sometimes my opinions will lean one way instead of the other. And I don't want people to think that this broadcast or podcast is literally being used as a tool to drive some type of agenda. I don't want that to be misconstrued anyway when I say something, all right? So that's my PSA that I do want to give out here. No King's protest. This is the first time this thing has ever happened. Again, people are not liking what's happening under Trump's regime for the second time. And again, Trump's regime, they're doing things differently than they did the first time. I don't think people have complained or talked about Trump's regime as much as they did now when you think about his whole first time around. Especially, we're only been in Trump's regime for the second time only 6 months now, and we've seen people just have their whole life being upticked and turned around. And yeah, man, people aren't happy about it. Again, that's what this whole protest was all about. No King's protest, literally from coast to coast in the United States. But I want to read you something here. USA Today will write up an article, and in the article they will say a man intentionally drives into protesters at No Kings in Virginia. Authorities in Virginia arrested a 21-year-old man that said initially drove an SUV through the crowd at the town's No King's Day event. They arrested Joseph R. Chucklet Jr. on June 14th at the conclusion of the demonstration. They would say participants were leaving the area and crossing through a business parking lot when an SUV drove recklessly through the crowd of pedestrians, the department said in a news release. The police charged Chucklet with reckless driving, according to the release. He appeared before a judge and was ordered to be held without bond at the county jail. Officers said they stopped the vehicle and identified the driver as Chucklet. Their preliminary investigation determined that Chucklet had initially accelerated his vehicle into the crowd, striking at least one person with his vehicle. No injuries were reported to the police. The person Chucklet is accused of striking with his vehicle has not been identified by law enforcement, the release said. Wouldn't that be attempted murder? Wouldn't that be the situation? Because if that person got hit and they ended up badly and severe, running over someone and hitting someone with your car could kill someone. So wouldn't that be kind of attempted murder? That's the kind of thing that I thought would be leveled onto this person, but they just hit him with reckless driving. It should be more than that, but again, we'll wait and see when more stuff happens whenever Monday rolls around and primed DA probably looks at all the facts and we'll see what happens. But dog, again, we're in the second reign of Trump, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know why his administration is doing what they're doing out here. Again, we had the whole ICE California issue where you have protesters over there, and he had military personnel being sent over there. And again, you get difference of reports. You get reports from people that's there saying that the media is making it bigger than what it seems. It's not that big of a situation. While when you see it on television, you see it from videos, it seems like it's bigger than what people are saying that it's not. So again, you don't know what the real deal is unless you're actually there. But all in all, ladies and gentlemen, this should not be happening right now. When you think of politics and you think of the law, you think it's supposed to be something that, okay, you see them going into these buildings, you see them argue about certain things, okay, cool, fine, whatever. It should never, ever really kind of, I'm not going to say affect the people that are striving and trying to live check to check, but it shouldn't have people living check to check really trying to cause damage to one another just because you're of their political beliefs. That shouldn't be the case. Politics is all about, hey, your people that you guys voted for, they go into the buildings, they argue for you, and you hope for the best. That's all you can hope for. Not, okay, our people went in there, they argued, and the next thing you know, you see them somewhere, they're all buddy-buddy with one another, and it looks like this thing is not really what it is. And then you got people out there that will take politics way too seriously and they want to hurt other individuals because of their political beliefs. It's not that deep, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I understand things are happening that people don't like. I don't like that ICE is attacking immigrants. There's been immigrants in the United States ever since I was a small kid. If you really want to get back to the origins of America, I'll say about a good 99% of Americans, quote unquote, in America right now are immigrants when you really think about it. Because when we look at the history books, the way that they teach it in American school systems, the Native Americans, the actual Americans were here first, and then you had the whites coming over here. Then they brought the blacks over here as slaves, and then you had other people from other ethnicities start coming in over on this land. And I'll say it again. A lot of people on this American soil are legitimate immigrants. Completely. The only people who are not are literally the Native Americans. So for, you see white people, and again, I have no disrespect to white people at all, but you guys gotta admit, it is kind of crazy when you really stop to really break down America, the actual land and actual system of America. It's insane that you have white people on this land here that are making the rules, because you got black people here, you got other ethnicities that will actually agree with, say, get the immigrants out of here, but they're not the people making the rules. It's literally white folks making the rules, when you really get down to the nitty-gritty of the things. It's crazy that when you look at it, you got white folks that aren't originally, when you look back into their ancestry, from here, saying we need to get the immigrants out of here. That's insane. That's insane. I don't care how you want to slice it or dice it. That's insane. So I don't like that we have ICE taking immigrants out of the United States. I understand you got people that will say, well, they need to come in here legally. Dog, I don't know the program for how they're supposed to get here legally, but dog, I've heard that program is a long awaited situation. You have people actually try to get into this country legally by doing the paperwork and all that type of stuff, but they get turned away, or it's a long process. There's a line and a long list of it. Listen, I don't know if that's true or not, and I don't want to try to spew all that as it being truthful, but I would believe that there's some truth to some of these things. Because, dog, it still boggles my mind when I think of people coming over to this country. It does. I was walking in a store, and there was a guy from England in a store working there, and I asked him for the location of a product that I was looking for, and then I heard his accent, and it was proper England type of accent, and I was just shocked by that. And I looked over, and he has the England and American flag on his name badge, and that I always get astounded, and I always get curious, and I always want to ask the people that have the accents, whether they come from India, whether they come from England, whether they come from Mexico, whether they come from any other country out of any other place and comes over here to the States. I always want to ask them, why did you leave there to come here? And I understand the whole, again, the marketing of America. We're great. Freedom, the whole land of opportunity, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. I know all of that, the whole propaganda of America. I get it. Trust me. I know the whole thing of that. But I would love to really one day, out of my curiosity, just ask one of these people, why did they come here? Why did they seek to come here? Because I would love to know, did they fall for the propaganda and do they have regrets coming to this country? Or did they fall for the propaganda and say, you know what, it isn't as bad as people is making it? I just want to hear their perspective, because, again, being a person that's born in America here, you see the traps, you see the downfalls, you see the things that America could work on, but they're never going to work on. It just makes me interested when you have an outsider see what's happening, see the critiques, and they still decide to say, yep, I still want to go here. Out of all the other places they could have went, I still want to pick America to come here. It's still astounding to me. So I would love to really have that in-depth conversation with someone that made that decision. I really would. So I'm going to try to make that happen one day. Before this year's over, 2025 is over, I want to have that conversation with someone, and I want to bring it up on this podcast so I can get that thought process from them. But anyway, I think I veered off from it. But anyway, with everything that's going on right now, I just don't like what's happening over here in the States. The No Kings demonstration, I get it. America, we protest. If you don't like something, that's cool. Trump's second reign right now, people are protesting a lot about it. People don't like what's happening. And again, I think that people take their political opinions and how they favor their political stuff way too serious, because this right here, a man driving into protesters at this protest, it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't. But again, I'm going to try to make that happen on this podcast before 2025 is over with. But again, if you lean one way or the other, don't let your political stuff cloud your brain so much that you end up doing damage to someone, because it's never worth it. It's not worth it at the end of it all. It's not. It's just people that's above you in the political status fighting for whatever, and they're going to be having these tea dinners, their little lunches with one another. It's nothing but a legit game to the people at the top. Whether people know it or not, it is. But again, that's something that people don't like to really talk about, and I'm just going to shut my mouth on that. But again, I want everyone to be all right, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent. Have your opinions, but don't get physical with no one. That's all I can say to that, all right? Moving out of political news here, I do want to move over into the Dominican Republic, and it's an update here. If you remember, there was a nightclub that the roof crashed on people that killed 236. There's an update on that. NBC News will write about it. They said the owners of the collapsed Dominican Republic club that killed 236 is arrested along with his sister. The owner of the iconic nightclub was arrested on Thursday along with his sister, Antonio Espelette, and Maribel Espelette. Has not been charged in the case, although authorities have 48 hours to present any charges before a judge. Both defendants displayed irresponsibility and negligence by failing to physically intervene to prevent the club's roof from collapsing, as it ultimately did, causing 236 deaths and more than 180 injuries, the Dominican Republic's Attorney General's office said in a statement. Prosecutors accused the brother and sister of trying to intimidate or manipulate company employees, adding that they could serve as witnesses in the case. Antonio is considered a powerful businessman in the Dominican Republic. He owns upscale entertainment centers and dozens of local radio stations. The attorneys for the siblings told reporters that he expects to have access to the prosecutor's evidence in the upcoming days. This is involuntary homicide, he said. Nobody wanted that to happen. The siblings were arrested after being interrogated for several hours. A local digital news channel posted an interview with the man that identified as a former JET employee, Gregory Adams. The channel said he gave prosecutors videos and conversations with Antonio in which he warned that the April 7th party shouldn't be held because the roof could collapse. Gregory said in a video posted on Instagram that he will hold the Espelette family responsible if he disappears or is shot or involved in an accident. If something happens to me, it's clear where it came from, he said. My intention is not to hurt anyone, only that the truth be known. A government-appointed committee that includes internal experts is still investigating what caused the roof to collapse. Crews worked for 53 hours nonstop after arriving on the scene in Santo Domingo shortly after midnight on April 8th, rescuing 189 survivors. So that's your update on this whole nightclub roof collapsing fiasco. And I want to say this, in the article, they would say the relatives of the several survivors have filed lawsuits against the owner of the nightclub, which I could believe so, probably civil lawsuits. But if it comes out that the owner and the sister did know about the roof not being secure enough or safe enough to hold a party on there, they are held responsible. I don't see how they can't be. I don't know the laws of the Dominican Republic, so don't hold me to that. But I know if it were to happen, at least over here in the States, in my mind, in a lot of people's mind, they will say, yes, you're held responsible. Because even if you have a pool in your home, whether in your backyard or front yard, whatever the case may be, you're supposed to have some type of barricade, whether it be a gate or something, to make sure that no one falls into it. More specifically, like a child, because a child could fall into your pool without you having like some type of barricade on it, and you will be held responsible for that. If you have a nightclub and you're told, hey, you're not supposed to have this type of party on the roof because the roof isn't stable enough to have that, this roof is kind of like shaky, it's on you as a nightclub owner to, one, make sure that party doesn't happen, and two, fix the roof. Get the roof fixed up so that if you want to have parties on the roof, guess what? You can do so. So again, I don't know if that is truly the case or not, but time will tell. I am just glad that there is still updates coming up about this, because 236 people did lose their lives, man. And there needs to be some type of information brought out to the public about this particular incident. So I'm glad that NBC News did continue up with the update on that, and I'm glad that I was able to bring it to you guys here on this broadcast. Now, moving over into the entertainment side, this is still dealing along with legal. ABC News will write about the rapper Salento. He has been sentenced to 30 years in his cousin's murder. His lawyer would speak out. They were writing in their article, the rapper Salento, known for his viral hit, Watch Me Whip, Nene, has been sentenced to 30 years in prison after pleading guilty in the 2021 shooting death of his cousin. He pleaded Wednesday for charges including voluntary manslaughter, aggravated assault, possessions of a firearm during the commission of a crime, and concealing the death of another. So that is what he pleaded guilty for. His attorney would say this was not a crime of passion or a crime of morally depraved person. He was mentally ill. His lawyer would continue telling ABC News, unfortunately, Ricky, which is the real name of Salento, mental illness has been an issue since the age of 12, even during his success as an artist and beyond. The benefit of him pleading to voluntary manslaughter is that it makes him eligible for parole, sometime within the next decade or so. If he had been convicted of murder, he would not have been eligible for parole for at least 30 years. Due to the nature of his plea, Salento will likely be placed in a facility equipped to address his mental health needs. His plea of guilty but mental ill acknowledges his mental illness, and it instructs the Department of Corrections to place him not in a regular prison, but in a facility that will treat his mental illness, his lawyer said. I'm hoping that he won't be at the diagnostic center for too long because they're already familiar with his mental health issues. I expect within the next month or two, he'll be placed where he's supposed to be. So Salento, he is going to prison for 30 years. Could be up to that. Let's just see what happens to him. I don't know if he's going to be in there for all that time. His lawyer thinks differently, but time will tell with that. It just sucks that two cousins get into a dispute. One shoots the other one, and the other one's no longer here on this earth. It's just a sad shame. Again, sad thing to hear about, sad thing to see. And I'm hoping that the whole family can kind of reconcile with this. I know there's anger still being built up on one side, and it has to suck. It has to suck knowing that a family member killed another family member. But again, we're in a crazy time in this world. It's happening. And again, I want everyone to be safe. Know what cousin you can hang around and know what cousin you cannot, because certain cousins, if you know they're not mentally stable or mentally well, please stay away from them and just give them your love. That's all you can do. All right. Last thing I do want to talk about is the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively case. I believe it was earlier this year we had the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively. They were suing one another. Blake Lively was suing Justin Baldoni and I believe his company of harassment and retaliation, while Justin Baldoni was suing Blake Lively in the New York Times of defamation and extortion. Well, Baldoni, he has his case been dismissed by the judge. That happened on Monday. So the only kind of suit that's still out there right now is Blake Lively's harassment and retaliation suit against Baldoni and his studios. Lively has alleged that Baldoni and his publicist orchestrated a smear campaign against her after she complained about sexual misconduct on the set of the film. Listen, I don't know if the judge is going to dismiss that and just basically say, yo, y'all both were bugging, y'all both were tripping. But right now, Justin Baldoni, he got to find something. He got to find something and do something. His team got to try something else, because for your defamation case and extortion case, and I know he was trying to get money from New York Times and Blake Lively for the piece that Blake Lively and the New York Times did. And again, I want to say it was early this year or late 2024, one of the two. It did some harm to Justin Baldoni. He was kind of hit out of the light, and he's kind of been trying to just deal with this court stuff, while on Blake Lively's side, she's been doing movies still, doing press for movies. Her husband, Ryan Reynolds, he's been on Blake's side, and he's still doing his own thing out there. The only person who's kind of taking a hit is Baldoni here. So, and I remember when I talked about this when it first came about, I said, Justin Baldoni got to pull a rabbit out the hat, my boy, because I don't know how he was going to win this thing against Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. I did not see how this was going to work in his favor, and my premonition is still kind of working right now, because for a judge to dismiss your case and not dismiss hers, yeah, my dude, you gotta pull a rabbit out the hat. So again, we'll wait and see what happens with more stuff come about. I'm not too really picky on the little nitpick stuff. I want to see what a actual judge says about Blake Lively's case. Is he going to dismiss that, or is there going to continue to allow that one to constantly go through? But all the little nitpicky stuff that you hear, whether it be 2 weeks from now or a week from now, that really doesn't do anything about the case, I don't care about. Same thing with the Diddy trial too. You hear more freaky sexual stuff coming out as the days go by. I do not care about any of that stuff at all. I just want to get to the sentencing, or I want to get down to where Puff's side now gets to bring out his people to speak about their experiences with Puff and all of that. That is when I'll probably dip my head back into it to see what type of tricks and what type of stuff is going to be happening on Puff's side to kind of discredit what's been said about him in this whole trial with that. But in general, whenever a Hollywood trial or court or suit happens, usually I'm interested for the first couple weeks, because that's when stuff starts going down. But as the time goes by and there's nothing really popping off, I lose interest, and I think a lot of people lose interest until the end. So right now, with this whole Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively thing, I want to see where the judge takes Blake Lively's case, whether that judge will dismiss her case or not. And with the Puff stuff, I want to see what happens with his stuff. I want to see who his team's going to call up, and I want to see what's going to come about from the jurors at the end of this thing, what their sentencing for his thing is going to be. But that's just my opinion on the whole Hollywood court cases right now. But with that, I think that's everything that I do want to discuss. I want to say this before I get into my whole spiel of thanking everyone. If you haven't seen Mobland on Paramount Plus, I just saw and finished that whole series all in a day this week. And it's a good show. I hope that they do come back with a season 2 at the end. You were kind of seeing that they did set it up for season 2 to happen. I did like Tom Hardy on there. He played Tom Hardy the way that you expect Tom Hardy to play in this type of show. Pierce Bronson, he was a maniacal man, a guy that I feel that's what usually happens to men in power whenever they have a wife that plays with them, and he knows she's playing with him, and he just constantly just goes with it. What happens to Pierce Bronson, usually what happens to all the other dudes in that predicament. And I want to say the woman's name is Helen Mirren. That's the first time I've ever seen Helen Mirren in a bad guy type of role. Helen Mirren. That's the first time I've ever seen her in a bad guy type of role. And you know what? She played it well. I do hope that they do bring Mobland back for a season 2 on Paramount Plus. Again, it is English, thorough English type talking in that series. If you're not used to it, I would say still give it a try. Put the subtitles on what do they call it? Subtitles, the closed captions, put all that on it if you can't really understand the dialect. But I think you will actually enjoy the show. But again, that's Paramount Plus. This is not an ad. I'm not getting paid from these people. I just enjoy that show. And whenever I enjoy a show, I would like to bring it up to you guys so you guys can actually watch it. So again, it's on Paramount Plus. Mobland, go and check it out. I think you will enjoy it. I think it's only like 10 episodes, and each episode's like 46 minutes. It has the father from the House of Dragons in this show. So again, I think you will enjoy it. But that's the one thing that I do want to make mention before I get into my spiel. So with that, I think that's now everything I do want to make mention. Now it's time for me to get into my spiel and get you guys out of here. I would like to thank all the podcasting sites for having me up here, whether it be Apple, Amazon, Podbean, Spotify, all the other podcasting sites. And also, I am now on iHeart and other different podcasting sites as well. So if you have iHeart and you want to listen to me there, go and do that. I would like to thank all these different podcasting sites for having me up on here, because without them, I wouldn't be able to get this podcast out to you guys, the downloaders and listeners. So I would like to thank them. But I also would like to thank you guys, the downloaders and listeners, because without you guys, I'll just be one guy talking into a mic, into a void. And I do appreciate everyone that takes the time to download the episode, listen to me talk, and give my opinions on anything that I do talk about, whether it be my Wednesday episode, my Thursday episode, Saturday, Sunday episode. I appreciate everyone for taking the time to download and just listen to me talk. Whether you're in the gym, in your car, in your house, or in your headphones, I appreciate it, because I don't have that big of a social media presence, but just knowing that I have a podcast and it touches people in different parts of the world, it's very, very heartwarming, and it's very special. And I really do appreciate people that take the time just to listen and hear me talk. So I appreciate every single one of you guys. Now, with that stated, always remember, I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you. This is not a gimmick. I really do appreciate and love every single one of you guys. And I just want you guys to know, please do not be a dick. Please be courteous to everyone that you do come in contact with this week, because you have no idea what they're dealing with, and they have no idea what you're dealing with. And you being courteous, you being nice to them can change their whole outlook on that day, and sometimes give some life back to humanity. So please just be courteous to everyone you do come in contact with. And I want everyone to have a great week. You'll hear from me again on my Wednesday episode, my Thursday episode, Saturday, and my Sunday episodes this upcoming week. And with that all being said, this has been your My 2 Cents podcast, presented by G2. He is I, and I am him. This isn't goodbye. This is until you hear from the sweet sounding voice again. And with that said, Kanye, could you please take these people home?
I'm tired, you tired, Jesus wept.